court shot to tie the game and put it into overtime. And then Diggins and Taurasi took over like they usually do and have the last couple of weeks.
Seattle has Phoenix next on the docket Friday night, and then a showdown with Las Vegas to end the season Sunday. What may very well be win and the #1 seed is yours game. Meanwhile, for Dallas, after tonight, Chicago in New York on the horizon, as the magic number is 2 for Brian Agler's squad, currently 1 game ahead of Washington in the standings. But that 2-0 head-to-head record may pay dividends at the end of the regular season. Grant?
Don't forget that Atlanta win over Chicago. That keeps Atlanta alive for the 8th spot. So this game is important for Dallas. They've got to find a couple more wins in the last 3 games.
Stewart wins the tap and immediately feeds Natasha Howard, and she's fouled by Sabally.
Fouls on 0, Satu Sabally for first. And the first team foul. Natasha Howard at the line shooting 2.
Natasha Howard didn't have a great offensive start to the season. In those first 3 or 4 weeks was averaging less than 5 points per game after leading Seattle with 18 a game last year. And boy, has she turned it on as of late, stepping up big in the scoring column.
Last year, Natasha was the featured scorer for Seattle. This year, her role has changed, and it took her some time to adjust. But when you have Breanna Stewart and Sue Bird back, they're going to be the top 2 options offensively. And Natasha has learned to become a better screener, and she's an unbelievable offensive rebounder. So she helps, as well as protecting the rim, helps in those areas as well.
And after she had a season-high 19 in Seattle's last game and a win over Minnesota, Alicia Gray with a quick answer after being blocked. And a bad pass from Lloyd sends it back to Dallas.
I'm not sure Gary Kloppenberg, the head coach for Seattle, scripts the first couple of sets, but I do believe they have some isolation plays and they want to take advantage of some personnel early. So maybe they do script the first couple of sets.
Sabally steps through and banks it in after getting Stewart in the air. That's what you said, Debbie. You love the length and size of Sabally, who's looking like a potential Rookie of the Year candidate. And there's Lloyd, and knock it down and tie it at 4.
It's all the details of a veteran team, like where Breanna Stewart set that ball screen for Jewell Lloyd was below the 3-point line at a perfect angle for Jewell to come off and knock down that mid-range jumper.
Avery with a great hesitation and blows by the defense for 2. The first meeting, Dallas was held to a season-low 65 points in what was an 18-point Storm win. Gary Kloppenberg knows that his team has to finish strong, and he loved the way his team played in a 103-88 win over Minnesota, but he says it's how we can continue that strong play going into the postseason may determine if we are a championship caliber team.
Well, the one thing that Gary Kloppenberg knows for sure when he lays his head on the pillow every night is that Alicia Clark is going to defend and that this team is going to lock in defensively. This is a very good defensive team, and when they can rebound, they can run. Then it's tough to match up with all their balance.
An offensive foul going the other way. It'll be on Howard, her first. Even Seattle, after losing back-to-back games a couple of weeks ago, started to scratch your head and wonder if there was anything wrong with the Storm. But they have again silenced any doubt with a 5-game win streak where they have been flat-out dominant.
That's 2 consecutive possessions with a deflection. They always have high hands on the catch. Watch how they defend Seattle.
Gray blows by Bird, and it's an early 8-4 Dallas lead. Howard calls for it, backing down the Rook, and going around for 2 more.
Yeah, so when they go inside and isolate Natasha Howard against the rookie Satu Sabally, everybody stays lifted above the free throw line. It's hard to bring help or bring a double to that matchup.
Ogunbowale, the leading scorer in the league this year, swings it over, and Sabali buries the three.
See, that's when you know the rookie is thinking, you can try to get 2 on me all day, but I'm going to come down here and get 3 on you.
And Lloyd, who has been impressive as of late, hit the game winner at the buzzer against the Sparks on Friday. Off to another good start with 4 early. Sabali again.
Same spot, little heat check. When you watch Seattle play defensively, they like to switch the middle third. So any pick and rolls or anything that takes place in there is, in that middle third is where you can get the switches that you want.
Stewart can't answer after Sabali's 2 trays. Ogunbowale can't knock down her first open look.
We know that Enrique is a key defensively for Seattle. Now they're gonna, as Jewel Lloyd takes a hard shot on that screen. It looks like Gray is trying to get over the top and her arm hits Lloyd in the face. But Enrique Ogunbowale is on the top of the scouting report, to my point before. So you don't just guard her with one person, you guard her with 1.5, meaning one person defends her and everybody else has a half a responsibility on her. Same with Stewart. It's the same defensive plan. It's 1.5. You have to know where she is all the time.
3 from Stewie. Get her on the scoring column. 14-11, 4 minutes in. Dallas playing well early, and Satsu Sabali, who did not play in that first meeting, a force to be reckoned with early. She's showing no fear.
See, this is Stewie, just catch and shoot, easy on the top of the floor, and when you watch her play, easy is usually the word that comes to mind because she does make it look easy.
And it is something to be said. It has been brought up time and time again how she has recovered from an Achilles injury, which to so many athletes over the years has almost been a kiss of death and really halted careers. But to see her back, Debbie, at full strength has to be so great for the game of women's basketball in this league.
It's great to see all the players back, including Sue Bird and other players like Angel McCautry that battled through injury.
Howard with a good fake. Floater won't go, and Mabry, another strong rebound for Dallas. Ogunbowale inside, draws another foul. That'll be Clark's first and Seattle's third in the quarter.
She can put so much pressure on you in transition, and as good a defender as Clark is, you see the contact there with the body. Enrique draws that contact to get to the free throw line. You know, when you got to get up on her earlier. You can't let her get a full head of steam crossing midcourt. When you're on your heels and you're backtracking, that's Enrique's advantage.
39 points on Sunday and an overtime win. 30 of those coming in the second half in overtime. Bird with space, knocks it down.
Just a simple side screen and roll, but a great shooter left with a little space. And Sue Bird knocks it down.
Each team shooting better than 63% as we near the midway point of the first quarter. Kayla Thornton connects from the corner. And that's been the sweet spot for Dallas here in the first quarter with 3 threes from that same spot.
It was almost backcourt.
And another one, Alicia Clark. Everything going in this first quarter. So that'll put a smile on your face. Ogunbowale can't continue the streak, as you've already seen 6 made threes in the first quarter. Howard calls for it, backing down and hustling for 2 more.
Yeah, Satu Sabali is going to have to be able to meet her higher up the lane and make her go another direction. Natasha Howard is doing a great job getting early position under the rim.
Sabali can't make it 4 for 4 from the field to start.
If you go one pass, a couple of dribbles, and a shot, you're playing right into Seattle's defensive game plan.
Lloyd too strong. Howard the offensive board. Clark slips underneath and puts it in, plus the foul.
For the foul on number 24, Enrique.
Seattle grabs the 21-20 lead, and we have a timeout on the floor. Off the Lloyd miss, you better have your head turned as the movement. Before every single game in this WNBA season in Bradenton, there has been a moment of recognition, and throughout the last couple of weeks, each team that takes the floor honoring and remembering those who have lost their lives to police brutality in one of many off-the-court ventures that this league has tried to think of. What more can we do with our platform? And Debbie, I don't think it can be stated enough how strong and unified these players have been.
The players have been using their platform for years. And being in the bubble has allowed them to escalate their awareness, escalate their education, and escalate their own individual platforms. I mean, I think you could go right down the roster list of all the different things that the players have put their time and their effort and their money behind.
And even tonight,
Brian Agler, the head coach for Dallas, he highlights 2 black-owned businesses back in the Dallas-Fort Worth area before every game. So everybody has something that they're doing, but it all results in asking everyone to vote. Make sure you're registered to vote. They've created a lot of voter awareness and a lot of education around voting. That's your action item.
Howard's layup rolls off the rim. Even the Storm celebrating Believe in Women Night. We can get more on that later as they honor 5 names in the Seattle community. Late in the shot clock, Gray cut off. Canada contests, but it doesn't matter. Alicia Gray off to another strong start. She has really elevated her play as Dallas looks to secure the 8th and final spot in the playoffs this week.
Really good D, better offense. And one thing Seattle makes you do is play in a crowd. They've always trying to close the gaps, and you're right there, Enrique, that's usually a shot she can make.
Canada, who missed the last 2 games with a right knee injury, moving well as her pass off the legs of Ty Harris, the rookie for Dallas. You see on the sideline Seattle wearing the Believe in Women t-shirts that are available for sale online. You can check them out over on the Seattle Storm Twitter page, where the net proceeds are going to Plum Restaurants, owned by McKinney Howell, one of the 5 honorees tonight for the Storm. Sammy Whitcomb into the lane, easily lays it in.
That's another great set by Seattle. A flare screen for Whitcomb, and when you're late on a closeout, she attacks that closeout and gets to the rim. Everybody thinks she's just a 3-point shooter. She is that, but Sammy Whitcomb is much more than just a 3-point shooter on the floor.
Brian Agler calls timeout with his Dallas Wings trailing by 2. And as Debbie mentioned, Atlanta staying alive with a big win over Chicago in the 4th quarter. But it's Dallas, thanks to Arike Agumbawale's 3 to tie with less than a second remaining on Sunday. A 2-0 head-to-head advantage against the Mystics, but like we've said, it's going to be a tough stretch for Dallas, who plays Chicago and New York to round out the regular season. And as we've learned throughout this year as well, nothing is a given in this league.
Chicago is on a losing streak at the wrong time, and New York, they're struggling. So If you had to win 2 of 3, this would be one that Dallas might find a little tougher of a challenge. And I'm not saying that Chicago and New York are going to lay down, because that's not going to happen either. But when you're thinking about winnable games and you're looking at their schedule, Seattle's the #1 team. They have been considered by many to be the best offensive team and the best defensive team. Now, I think Las Vegas has something to say about that, because I think Las Vegas has had an incredible year. But when you look at what's remaining on their schedule, you pretty much figure you got to win 2 of these 3.
That is the magic number, 2 for the Dallas Wings. As Washington and Atlanta still not eliminated, the emergence of Satu Sabally has helped the youngest team in the WNBA this year, no one older than 27. On the brink of a playoff bid as Kayla Thornton muscles inside and misses it off the backboard. Canada right down the lane.
Good D by Ty Harris.
Quick pass inside, Bella Allery finishes.
That was a great pass by Katie Lou Samuelson. Off the bounce, curling off that screen with the left hand. That ball was zipped right into the paint.
Whitcomb can't hit from deep. And one of the 3 rookies on the floor trying to help lead Dallas. Nearly taken away. Harris steps in and knocks it down.
You know, Ty Harris has not turned a basketball over but 1 time in the last 4 games. She is a tremendous decision maker on the floor. When she comes in, she plays her role really well. Look, she just got a steal.
Leading to a break, Harris connects. 5 straight from Ty Harris, the former star at South Carolina, with a couple of big possessions off the bench and forcing a Seattle timeout.
Off the dribble handoff, the ball fake and off the left hand. What a great pass and a terrific finish inside by Bella Allery. And then the deflection by Harris, and then you've got a 3-on-2 up the floor. It's a great decision to get the ball to Ty Harris in that situation, so she can score.
Stewart nearly gets an and 1 immediately following the timeout. Foul goes on Harris, her first personal and 4th team foul in the quarter.
See, when you have a veteran team like Gary Kloppenberg and Dan Hughes have, you have the ability to, coming off of timeouts or ATOs, to execute exactly what you want, and then defensively to execute what you want. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a trap or something different here by Gary Kloppenberg on this, what could be last possession for Dallas.
And even moving quickly gives them a chance to go for the 2-for-1. Mabry dancing, slipping inside, and off the back iron as Stewart rebounds. And finds Canada with 10 seconds left in the first. Here's Epiphany Prince. Canada steps back and draws the foul with 0.3 of a second remaining.
I mean, is it obvious to state that you don't want to foul the jump shooter in that situation? Try not to be so obvious, but
a chance to add more points. Now you love to see the points on the scoreboard, as each of these teams have gotten off to great offensive starts.
Dallas shooting 55% from the floor, 50 from 3. Seattle 53% from the floor, 60 from 3 to end the first quarter. Those are numbers I like, John. I love those kind of offensive numbers.
Points aplenty in the first 10 minutes. Now the best defensive team in the league looks to tighten up on the other end as they trail by 1 heading to the second. Seattle has been looking down on the rest of the league all season, and with a win tonight locks up a top 2 seed in this year's playoffs, but not done just yet, Debbie, because they lost that first meeting against Las Vegas, and if each team wins out going into that showdown this Sunday, Las Vegas can take the #1 seed.
Yeah, that's going to be fun if they can both hold on and win out. You're right. That'd be amazing. That's what I mean about the way the league has been. It's fantastic. I mean, we're going down to the last game of the season to determine seeding and potentially to determine who the 8 teams are. We know who 7 are. The last spot, that 8th spot, Dallas certainly in the hunt for that. Washington's still alive, and so is Atlanta.
Thanks to Arike Agumbawale, who has put up eye-popping numbers game in and game out, despite going on-off every other day. All alone, Mercedes Russell powers it through and will go to the line looking to complete the 3-point play.
Dallas has got to stop fouling the shooter. This is going to be the 4th, I think, and 1 opportunity for Seattle so far, unofficially, because I don't have that stat written down, or I didn't write it, track it, but I know that's got to be frustrating for Coach Agler.
First miss on the 8th attempt at the line tonight. Sabally, who already has 2 first-half fouls into the game, got the defense in the air and earned the trip to the line herself.
That's something you can't teach. That's just having good fundamental footwork. First it's the hezzy, and then it's the blow-by, and then it's the footwork inside. I mean, she is going to be a first-team All-WNBA player very soon in this league.
It reminds me of a funny story Kelly Graves told Mike Yam, friend of us here, that used to say sometimes behind closed doors, I really wouldn't be surprised if Satu ends up having a better career than Sabrina, because she draws a lot of the attention. But something about Satu's game and her development, like you said, Debbie, you are just so excited to see what she is capable of. And like you said, a first-team All-W player.
You bring the double from the weak side, that backside guard has to drop. That's Alicia Gray's play at the rim. Otherwise, you can't bring the double because you get it way out of rotation, and Seattle is too good at moving the ball.
And off the miss. Chance inside, Magbagor, shut off by Allery. Canada floats into Russell and banks it in. Now 16 points in the paint in the first half for Seattle. Gumbawale falling to the floor. Go ahead, flex on him after the and 1.
With a foul number 21, Jordan Campbell for first.
Watch how Seattle reads the double. Mercedes Russell, tall, keeps the ball above her head. Magbagor keeps working without the ball. Magbagor.
Gumbawale, after making her first basket, completes the and 1. And we are tied at 34. Russell can't get it off glass. Agumbawale fights inside, misses. Sabally can't clean it up. Canada left open, feeds Russell for 2 more.
When you push in transition, you don't always get the layup, but what you can get is some mismatches. And that's what's happening to Dallas with their transition defense right now. You can't have your shot selection lead to runouts for Seattle. You got to make sure you get a couple of sides and make them play deep.
Russell intercepts the pass intended for Sabally, and a chance to run again for Seattle. Canada with space. Can't hit. Sabally had it stripped. 3-on-3 the other way. Good play by Mabry, but still with Seattle. Canada.
Jordan
right to the basket again, and it's a 4-point Seattle advantage.
Jordan Canada picks up that foul. That's back-to-back live ball turnovers by Dallas, which allows Seattle to be able to score on Jordan Canada's hustle right there on a loose ball.
Second in the league this year in points off turnovers per game. Only the Sparks are better in that category. And you said it too, once they get out in open space, they are so good moving the basketball that it's tough to stop them. Gray inside, gets the roll, and she'll head to the line to shoot one.
Hard charging with that left hand. Now watch Alicia Gray turn the corner right here, gets to the paint, and she's only seeing the rim at that time. As soon as she gets a piece of the paint, eyes on the rim.
Gray shoots one more.
This is what's been so impressive about Dallas. Despite the youth and inexperience, they're fighting with the #1 team in the WNBA. Whitcomb catch and shoots, won't go.
Dallas really pushing every opportunity. So now you got a mismatch right here with Enrique and Breanna Stewart. She gave it up.
Gray feasting inside as she banks in another one. It has 11 first half points for Dallas. Lloyd slips it to Howard. Well, she threaded the needle. Finish not there that time. Harris fouled by Stewart on the perimeter. That'll be her second personal as we head to a timeout with 5:51 left in the first half. Dallas not backing down and answering each basket by Seattle as they lead by 1.
She is such a good player. I love that. I love it because that's the all-time greatest, right? Watching one of the future bright stars in the WNBA. I mean, I mentioned she's going to be a first-team All-WNBA performer eventually in her career. She's probably going to be in the hunt for an MVP as well because Dallas is young and they continue to build around her. That's two really good pieces with Enrique and Satu.
And that's even what Brian Agler said after his team's clutch win on Sunday in overtime against Washington, that it really helps when you have two players that can just simply make plays and that game in and game out do things that just impress you. And then you have to remember, they're in their first and second years in the league and have somehow been the leaders of this team that is on the brink of clinching a spot in the playoffs. Dallas already in the bonus with 5.5 minutes to play in the second quarter. Gumbawale couldn't save it. And
What?
Stewart banks it in.
Come on! Are you kidding me?
A little MJ
For real?
shrug after that.
I mean, that's two in one night with Skylar Diggins hitting the half-court shot and now Stewie hitting one.
And the Gumbawale answers right back.
No possession change. Breanna Stewart gets control of the ball and looks at the shot clock, and she had time for probably 2 more dribbles. Look at Enrique's reaction to it. Stewie goes, oh, all in a day's work. And Enrique's like, ah. You know.
Well, getting 3 one way or another. Enrique gets it the old-fashioned way after a 45-footer from Stewart. And I guess too close this time around. Third try, still won't go.
But let's see if Dallas can keep this tempo up, because Sean, they've played really fast, and playing fast and pushing and trying to stay under control with a young team is a little bit challenging. But that might be why they've turned the ball over a little bit more in this first half.
Even this young team had the fewest amount of turnovers this year.
You know what? If we end up with a highlight reel by halftime, I'm perfectly fine. This is awesome. Late night hoops. Enrique just sizing up a little rope-a-dope and then the drive-by. This is the best defender on the perimeter in the WNBA, going against the top scorer in the league. And I'm going to tell you right now, offense usually wins.
Putting her on skates. She's now 5 of 5 at the line. And 3 different Dallas players have 11 points.
All you people out there preaching defense, forget about it. You got to have an offensive skill set. If you have what Enrique has and you can do what Enrique has, nobody can guard you. We need more players like that, and we have a lot of them in the WNBA. If you're playing college basketball and you're listening, I'm sending out a shout out right now to get out there in the gym and start working.
There's another great score in the history of the game. Sue Bird answering back with a 3 of her own. And muscling inside, Ty Harris. Another impressive basket in the first half.
I knew Ty Harris was going to have a big game today. You know why?
She had her Wheaties?
No, today she did an unselfish act. She gave all of her South Carolina teammates a brand new pair of sneakers. I saw it on Twitter, and I knew she was going to have a big game because that's good karma right there. When you're selfless and you do something for somebody else, it usually comes back.
It's paying Dallas dividends. 3 won't go from the corner from Katie Lou Samuelson. Dallas shooting 55% from the floor in the first half. And the 49 first half points helping keep them ahead as they force a turnover on the other end. Rare to see Sue Bird do that coming into this game. In her last 4, she's only had 4 turnovers. Gray spins in the lane. Shot off glass won't go, and Lloyd the rebounds. Pushing up ahead, Stewart stops, pops, can't hit. Get whiplash from watching these two teams run up and down the court.
Enrique wants the ball.
Going by Clark, lays it in again.
Come on. This is going to be a big night, Sean. This is going to be a big night.
13 points for Agumbawale a few days after a career-high 39 against Washington. And a bump outside will result in Gray's second foul.
She was calling for the ball the minute she crossed midcourt. They finally get it to her, and she knows now that Alicia Clark can't guard her one-on-one. In her mind, because she's that kind of a scorer, that's the way she thinks. Let's see if Brian Aguilar will just clear it out for Enrique Agumbawale having another big game.
Dallas not backing down against the #1 team in the WNBA, and they're getting some great performances from their young stars as 4 different players have 9 or more.
Coming off a 39-point performance, Enrique Agumbawale is still hot.
Stewart comes up short.
Breanna Stewart has missed her last 5 shots. Well, excuse me, she did hit a half-court shot.
Struggling inside the arc and trying to get going as we have 2 minutes left in the first half. And a steal leads to an easy basket for Jewel Lloyd.
See, that's a team that can scheme on the defensive end. So Gary Kloppenberg said, we're going to double team Enrique now. So let's say if Enrique stays away from the ball screen action, because then you bring 2 defenders. If she just goes one-on-one, we already know they can't guard her one-on-one. But not many can.
Howard running the floor with a soft touch, lays it in. 14 assists on 19 made baskets for Seattle. The #1 team in assist percentage this season. Zabali spins. And a third foul called on Stewart in the half.
Stewart rotates over to help, and Natasha Howard can't keep Zabali in front, and there you see the foul. So you don't want Breanna Stewart to have 3 fouls at the half. I mean, you know, as a team and with your defense, you want to try to keep that from happening. So Howard's got to do a better job of keeping her defender in front so that Stewart doesn't have to help. Just like Arike, like you got to keep her in front so Stewart doesn't have to rotate over and help. So now if she's going to stay in the game, I'm telling you, Brian Agler's probably going to run something at her. See if you can pick up a 4th before the half. But I like keeping her in for an offensive possession, but I would get her out after this possession.
Bird blows by the defense, and no one home.
Nice fake by Sue Bird. Fakes the dribble handoff, gets to the rim.
Zabali was bumped, back out to Mabry. Won't go, and Stewart the rebound. Bird into the front court, calls timeout with 41.6 ticks left in the first half. That is featured.
Obviously Dallas to see about that 8th spot. But whoever gets in that 8th spot, whether it's Dallas or Washington or Atlanta, because you can't take any of them out of the conversation right now. I don't know who wants to play them. I don't know anybody who wants to play those teams. Washington's playing really well. Mike Tebow's done a heck of a job with that group. And I think Nikki Collin getting a healthy Kennedy Carter has done a great job having a full roster, seeing what they can do in Atlanta.
Future of the game is bright with guards like Kennedy Carter and Arike Agumbawale as Lloyd is blocked by Gray out of bounds.
That's a great defensive play by Alicia Gray. Stays off the contact, the timing on the block.
Bird with 5, leans in, and a whistle before the shots.
I think they're going to call Sue Bird for carrying. Palming, carrying.
Take your pick, it's the 6th turnover by Seattle in the half. And Agumbawale bumped from behind. And Clark clearly frustrated after she picks up her 3rd person.
Well, Dallas's ability to get into the paint tonight has put some pressure on the rotations of Seattle. But you know what? That's where Gary Kloppenberg is outstanding on the defensive end. So when they come out after the half, we'll be watching for the adjustments on how they're going to defend Arike.
She now has 15 points tonight. All of them have been in the 2nd quarter. Bird beats Stewart, and through contact, puts it through, and can give Seattle the lead with a free throw right here.
See, this is so well executed. I mean, a great post up, good position, and once you get behind Stewart in that position or any post player at that point, you're buried.
Shooting numbers haven't been great for Stewie these last couple of games, but she has been getting to the line often. Averaging 7 free throw attempts in her last 4. And
Gary Kloppenberg gets Alicia Clark with those 3 fouls off the floor, but you trust Stewie and you leave her on.
Agumbawale tosses it up and can't put it in as time expires in the first half of play. We got a track meet on our hands, a 55-54 ball game as Arike Agumbawale's 15 points in the first half have Dallas trailing by just one. Waiting to be joined by Seattle head coach Gary Kloppenberg, and now joining us as his team leads 55-54 at the break. Coach, what did you like about your offensive rhythm in those first 20 minutes?
Yeah, I like our running game. We're getting, we're trying to push the ball, get some of our early screen and rolls going, and some deep post ups. I thought we offensive rebounded pretty well. I think if we can finish some of our inside shots a little better, we'd be in a lot better shape. But
Gary, I'm guessing the top of your scout and adjustments for the second half will be something to do with Arike. I mean, how do you try to keep her from putting your team in foul trouble?
Yeah, no, and they are. They're getting to the free throw line. We just have to do a better job of keeping her in front, putting her in traffic, keeping her in congestion. I thought several of them got downhill on it. So we got to just come out with a lot better focus and intensity defensively.
Coach, thank you for your time and best of luck in the second half. Gary Kloppenberg's team leads by one, and when we come back, we check in on a GOAT chat with Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. There may be some foul trouble brewing for the Storm as Brianna Stewart and Alicia Clark, along with Jordan Canada, each have 3 fouls, and give it as a testament to how Dallas was in the attack-first mindset that entire first half.
Well, Dallas was 14 for 16 from the free throw line, and Arike was 7 for 7. This is the downhill that Gary Kloppenberg referenced when we went to break. When she doesn't see anybody in the gap and she doesn't see numbers in front of her, she is going to go all the way to the rim until you try to stop her. And then she has incredible strength and balance and finishing ability inside. She has the capability of getting to the free throw line as well as making plays like that. Arike with 15 first half points, coming off that 39-point performance in overtime against Washington in the last game.
It was so funny too when she said, I knew we needed this game, and the rest of the team knew, and just whatever the case is, once the clock goes down, I know I have the confidence and the trust in my teammates to make those plays. But I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm just as stressed as you guys watching on your couch. And to start, Dallas attacking the rim once again, 28 of the 56 coming from the paint tonight.
And we've been talking about Arike and Seattle's defense. Dallas has done a solid job of staying with Seattle with tips and deflections and staying with them on the glass for the most part.
Great flash by Howard. Slips underneath to lay it in.
Well, both of these teams are so well coached. They space the floor so well. And you expect for Dallas, you expect an overplay by Seattle. That's why you're able to get backdoor.
Sabally puts her head down. One-on-one with Stewart, wins the battle again. Clark collects the long feed, and Agumbawale picks up the foul. Fans, you can cheer on your team from home using Tap to Cheer in the WNBA app by tapping on your team's logo to show support. The team with the most taps at the end of the game wins. Be sure to go to WNBA.com to check the leaderboard this week and see how your team stacks up against the rest of the competition.
And see, one way that you can attack Arike or try to wear her down is make her play D in a post on Alicia Clark. Nice invert to the block, but you got to finish. Like that. Satu has no problem finishing around the rim. And she's left-handed. Let me remind you that she just made 2 plays with her offhand.
And Stewart around the rim finishes. And it's funny too because Sabali's even said in the last couple of games she's been very disappointed how she's been finishing and attacking. She looks locked in tonight as Gray is denied by Howard.
When you get this kind of position inside, it's really tough to defend. And this is a great pass from the perimeter. Good lob. Dallas late on helping from the weak side. Great catch by Stewart. Finish.
Off Stewart's steal, Sue Bird. Too strong. Battling for the rebound, Katie Lou Samuelson boxing out Natasha Howard, and there is Sue Bird along with Howard. It's an incredible juggernaut squad that is akin to the Avengers in this league. But the youngest team in the WNBA going toe-to-toe. Sabali, sit down.
When in doubt, great read. She looks at the cut, not there. That creates some separation for her to get into the rhythm of her shot.
Long two gives her 18 points tonight. And defending Howard forces the turnover as she could not get positioning on the block.
See, a lot of people would contend that Dallas is playing for that 8th spot in the playoffs. I think they're in the playoff mode right now. I mean, you have to play at a high level to be able to maintain that spot at number 8.
Samuelson can't bury another Dallas 3. Bird feeds Howard. Swung into the corner for Lloyd. And she nails the 3 to tie it at 62.
Great ball movement. 18 assists on 24 made baskets by Seattle for a team that averages 68% of their baskets assisted.
Sabali can't take care of it herself. Howard running the floor, couldn't get a clean feed. Somehow kicks out to Bird. What ball movement by Seattle, everyone getting a touch. It can't end in a Stewart 3. Third try, finally goes for Howard.
Everyone got a touch and the ball didn't hit the floor.
Gonna show that in your clinics starting next week?
That's right.
It'll make your head spin in the way Seattle can move.
Just a great job of get a piece of the paint, reverse the ball, go inside out, wide open triple, and then because you take a shot that's in the system, you can get to the offensive glass. One of the better offensive rebounders in the WNBA is Natasha Howard.
And that won't go down as an assisted basket, but with the defense flying all over the place, it really opened up Howard around the rim. Number 1 team in assist percentage this year. And Gray is called for the charge. Her 3rd personal foul with 6:20 left in the 3rd. Dallas, thanks to the clutch win over Washington on Sunday, 2-0 against the Mystics in the head-to-head battle, but the Wings still trying to lock up the 8th and final playoff spot this week with 2 more wins. Lloyd drops it in.
Really tough too, and Jewel Lloyd's been very quiet, but has been able to pick and choose her spots. She's been very patient offensively.
And a foul called. Seattle now taking a 4-point lead. No one's led by more than 6 this entire game. An incredible offensive display. Sabali downhill, hits the floater.
But she's really attacking Breanna Stewart with those 3 fouls. She has been outstanding. Sabali is 7 for 10 from the floor for 20 points.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Initially, the call on the floor was that it'll stay here and be Seattle's ball. The calling going to be overturned with Dallas looking to tie or take the lead on this possession, as it has been Satou Sabali taking over in the 3rd period with 20 points tonight. Didn't play in the first meeting against Seattle, where the Storm won by 18. She has been quite the difference tonight, finding Harris. Blowing by Howard, too much sauce.
Oh my goodness, she
Satou Sabally.
So good. So young, so good. Look at how she gets her hips and shoulders by the defender, Natasha Howard. I mean, she is playing the game low to high with that big, strong frame of hers at 6'4", the #2 pick in the draft. She's putting on a clinic on how you attack the top foot and get to the paint. How you attack a closeout, Sean. Because you have to be able to score on a closeout in the WNBA. And the best players certainly know how to do that.
Doing it against arguably the best defensive player this year in Alicia Clark, and the defensive player of the year last year in Howard. Gray cutting, but blocked by Brianna Stewart, who was quick to recover. But thanks to Satou Sabally, 23 points tonight, and she is given the Wings a 1-point advantage midway through the third. Despite missing a handful of games this season with some injuries, Satou Sabally is still right at the thick of the conversation for Rookie of the Year and putting on one heck of a performance to add to her resume, as she's 5 points away from her career high tonight.
She's been entertaining. She's been smart. Her decision-making with the ball has been outstanding.
Gumbawale charged her third foul. Pushing off, trying to free up. Dallas was held to 65 points in that first meeting. Outside of Gumbawale, the rest of the team shot 27% from the floor. But this has been a completely different game, where neither team is led by more than 6 points. And just moments ago, Brianna Stewart heading back to the locker room.
Hopefully she's okay, and because Seattle's defense has done a really good job of not allowing Enrique to score here in the third quarter.
Howard rises too strong. Ezzy Magbagor, her follow blocked by Sabally. Rebound scooped up by Gumbawale. Dishes to Harris. A good save by the rookie. Bird can't lay it in. Gray downhill was fouled, and she'll shoot two.
See, Ty Harris knew coming up the floor that she had numbers on that side. There was only one defender between her and Alicia Gray. That was great timing on delivering that pass. This is what she sees. She only sees Jewel Lloyd. It's a great take. It's a good timing to deliver the ball where Gray can get to the rim.
Former South Carolina teammates on the floor and putting in work. Ty Harris has been so much fun to watch. And Alicia Gray, who's really taken her game to the next level. Once again, Dallas currently in the #8 spots. But so much drama that has yet to unfold in the WNBA as the regular season ends on Sunday.
Oh, now Alicia Gray, I don't blame her for being upset with this one. Usually Alicia Gray doesn't say too much, but you can see she's frustrated. She's upset right there.
Picking up her fourth foul with 3:47 left in the third. Lloyd turns the corner and is fouled by Thornton. Last foul to give for Dallas.
Watch Alicia Gray. I think Seattle, Jewel Lloyd and Jordan Canada ran into each other. I don't think Alicia Gray helped them run into each other.
Lloyd puts it in, and she'll shoot one at the line after muscling through yet again.
So Kayla Thornton gets back-to-back fouls. Right here, you go underneath that screening action so you don't allow Jewel Lloyd to turn a corner and get to the rim.
4 fouls on Thornton. Three rookies on the floor for Dallas. Gumbawale rises, then before the shot, called for an offensive foul, and becomes the 3rd Dallas player with 4 personals.
Enrique's going to get called for a push-off here on Howard. Yeah, I guess so.
Gumbawale will check out. Good to see Brianna Stewart back on the bench after going back to the locker room a couple minutes ago.
So this is a dangerous time for Dallas because Alicia Gray and Enrique Gumbawale on the bench with 4 personal fouls. Let's see how long Brian Agler can keep them over there.
Clark sticks the 3.
Make sure you note that the score was tied when Enrique went out with 4 fouls.
Inside.
Good
Mallory
cut,
finishes.
Good cut. Gray's back on the floor.
Boyd attacks, and another foul called.
Yeah, Alicia Gray reached, she gave up her principal verticality and reached down. You could hear her teammates telling her to, you know, keep your composure.
One of the few vets on the team. Now picking up 5 personals. You see Gumbawale as well as Thornton. I wonder when Brian Agler is going to bring those key pieces back into the game.
Sean, remember in the first quarter we were talking about how I had unofficially had Seattle at 5 and 1s because Dallas kept fouling the shooter. Well, now the foul trouble is mounted up on them. It's added up.
Sabali steps through, back out to Samuelson, and Skoulud. Fifth made 3 by Dallas tonight, ties it. Long 2 by Lloyd, won't go. Sabali floats it, and Samuelson couldn't hang on.
I think Satu was trying to do the right thing because Katie Lou just hit a 3. But I also think she had a pull-up J at 15 at the elbow.
2 minutes remaining.
And instead, it's the 9th turnover from Dallas tonight. Stewart calling for it with the mismatch. Whitcomb, great move, but not rewarded with the step back 3. Battling for the tip that was last off Mabry.
See, Brianna Stewart is so good at playing through the double team. See, she demands 2 on the block, and when 2 come to her, she can stretch that double and bring it away from the block and see over the top. And when Seattle can do that, they can get the ball to the second side, and then they have an open 3 like Whitcomb had.
Stewart right to work. Draws the foul on Sabali, her 3rd.
Brianna Stewart at the line shooting.
Seattle 11 of 12 at the free throw line tonight. As Debbie mentioned, about half of them coming from and ones. That's the thing about Seattle. They can beat you in so many different ways. Have put up massive three-point numbers this year, but they can also pound it inside. And racking up the fouls on Dallas, Seattle retakes a 2-point lead thanks to Stewie. Zabali dishes. Ty Harris can't make. Canada can't connect. And Zabali grabs her 7th rebound. Final minute in the third. Zabali can't hit her 3rd three. Whitcomb all alone. Buries it.
That's why you run to the corner when you're a shooter like Whitcomb. Really challenging to defend that in transition.
Samuelson catch and shoot, can't answer. And the shot clock turned off for Sue Bird in the Seattle offense. This currently matches Seattle's biggest lead of the night. Bird finds a backdoor, Brianna Stewart, and it's a 7-point lead.
What a great set.
Zabali won't go, and it's a 15-5 run by Seattle to close the 3rd quarter. 2 of the best in the game. Bird finding Stewart, and it's 81-74 heading to the...
Seattle with a 4th quarter lead going into the 4th, and part of the reason why is the play of Jewel Lloyd. 7 for 10 from the floor, 18 points. She's made all her free throws. She has 5 rebounds. She patiently waited for her opportunity, and we certainly haven't forgotten about what a great scorer she is, and neither has Gary Kloppenberg, as he's called her number here in the 3rd quarter.
And don't forget, she's one of 3 former Notre Dame stars that have hit big shots in the last 5 days. She had the game winner against the Sparks Friday night, or as I should say, maybe Saturday morning. Arike Ogunbowale on Sunday at the step-back 3 to send her game against Washington into overtime. And how about Skylar Diggins-Smith from 45 feet at the end of regulation to send the Mercury into overtime and eventually another win as Canada lays it in.
There's a proud coach named Muffet McGraw that's smiling after hearing you describe all of that.
Well, Arike certainly has shown the clutch gene the last several years. Avery's pass into the backcourt. 3-on-1, Stewart can't bank it in. Canada.
Now, Dallas is breaking down here. They got to tighten up. They need a good possession offensively.
That's one heck of a break, too, off the turnover. Zabali calling for it was held by Canada. It'll be her 4th personal and 1st on Seattle in the quarter. So how does Dallas find their footing again after they led 69-66?
Well, Arike hasn't scored, and that's part of the reason why they trail. I think they need to move the ball. You know that Seattle's going to switch the shoot, and you can get a matchup that Arike can look at trying to get downhill on, but right now Seattle's done a really good job of defending her.
Ogunbowale can't hit her first shot of the 2nd half.
They force a really tough look for Arike.
Howard behind the defense, too strong. In transition, Ogunbowale still can't finish it, frustrated following the latest miss. Stewart powers up for 2.
Easy, makes it look so easy. That's a really tough 2-man game, Sue Bird and Brianna Stewart.
And a timeout called by Brian Agler as Stewie and company have built an 11-point lead, their largest of the game, as Dallas looks for answers when we return. Seattle has taken control. control in the second half, thanks to relying on its former MVP to shoulder the load.
Brianna Stewart, 19 points after a slow start, including this 3 with a late shot clock. Got quite a line going here entering into the fourth quarter. And she and Sue Bird are certainly connected when it comes to playing in a two-man game, when they clear out the side and let those two go to work.
Agumbawale on the restart. Harris attacks, and fading away draws the foul. Whitcomb called for her second personal foul. Much needed trip to the line.
Don't you kind of sense that it's late and the players look like they're frustrated with every call that the officials blow the whistle on now?
Seems like 7 weeks that are coming to a close as of this weekend. Sure, we could mash up a great montage of the surprised faces after committing fouls.
They run some floppy action here. Oh, nice.
Touch pass to Stewart, all the difference as she's up to 21 points.
They run that floppy. They love to come back with that flare for Whitcomb, and she makes a great read to Stewart.
Gray drops Whitcomb as she finds Samuelson for 3.
Second triple for Katie Lou Samuelson. You know, last year in 20 games, she only made 8. This year in 19 games, this being her 20th game, she's made 17. So she's doubled her three-point output.
Rare turnover by Harris leads to a Bird bucket.
That's her first turnover in the last, she didn't turn it over in the last 3. She had 1 turnover 4 games ago. She's had 2 turnovers in 5 games.
Averages 1 about every 22 minutes on the floor. Gray spins and banks it in.
Wow, what a move. Now you got to get some stops right here if you're Dallas, because I think Seattle's in a really good rhythm offensively right now.
Gray with her 5 fouls still out on the floor. Agumbawale nearly in her steps, but instead it's deflected out of play.
This is such a tough, high degree of difficulty shot for the left-hander. High off the glass on a spin move.
Stewart, the double team at her face, can't knock it down. Samuelson finds Sabali, who just came back in. Mabry puts it in.
Bucket, Mabry. That's a big, they got a great stop on a double team on Stewart. Katie Lou Samuelson got the break going.
Clark muscling it over Agumbawale with her size advantage. Settling it down after a couple of possessions. Dallas has scored. Sabali underneath, puts it in off glass.
Wow.
Now it's Lloyd's turn as she feeds Stewart.
Really good feed by Jewel Lloyd. That's a great job of getting in the paint, drawing 2, dropping it off. You got to know where the help's coming from.
28 assists from Seattle's offense tonight. As we approach the midway point in the 4th, Bird collides with Sabali. Both are shaken up as Bird getting up.
Oh, no.
And it looked like she was holding that left knee, which is...
Looked like their knees collided. And Sue immediately grabs her left knee. Sabali slow to get up as well. Oh no.
Just such a warrior, Sue Bird, who's battled back from so much and continues to play at a really high level, Debbie. You just hope it's a stinger.
Let's hope so. I mean, when you've worked as hard as Sue Bird has worked to come back, everyone has the same reaction. And you know what? If fear is one thing that you're feeling, I don't blame Sue Bird. She's been through so much. It's scary. Just hope for the best for both her and Satu.
Gumbawale inside, can't put it in. She's still scoreless in the second half. And it goes back to something I remember Angel McCautry saying and how she's battled back from significant injuries herself and saying that, you know, I tell a lot of these young players that, no, we're going to come back. We're going to be better and stronger and learn from this. And I know for McCautry, she said that she's felt a sense of duty to come back and play at a high level to show a lot of these younger players that even if you get hurt, you can come back and be better. As a couple of baskets, Clark, and then inside for Dallas as it's a 9-point Seattle lead. Allery whistled for the foul, meaning more free throws for Jewel Lloyd. Looking to become the second Seattle player with 20 points tonight.
That's Sue Bird back on the bench with her teammates.
Canada, who's been out the last couple of games with knee issues herself, running the point guard spot is Gumbawale. Access denied by Stewart. 2 on the shot clock. And off the rim, it'll go back to Seattle with 3:46 to play.
Look at the help.
Stewart called for the charge. Lower the shoulder right into Allery.
That's an excellent scouting report defensive play by Katie Lou Samuelson. Because you know that Breanna Stewart, when she catches it in the pinch right there, that's her move. That's her tendency. Reverse pivot and get to that right hand.
Gumbawale needing another big comeback. Grady can't get it to drop. More free throws coming for her.
Number 6, Howard, 4th, 14th foul. Alicia Gray at the line, 2 shots.
Alicia Gray is just, she's got that spin move down.
She's been averaging 17 points per game over the last 4 games and shooting nearly 70% from the floor. How is her speed a game changer for Dallas's offense?
Gray?
Yeah.
I mean, she's good in an ISO, and she likes to push the ball off the floor, but really, Enrique's their fastest player.
Just seems some of the agility on display tonight from Alicia Gray. Like you said, on the catch, it's been tough to stop. As her 17 points trying to help lead Dallas back from a late deficit. Howard, another second chance basket for her. trying to put the finishing touches on win number 17 and lock in a top 2 seed for the playoffs.
Through the elevator door screen, and Clark is right there on her hip.
Still won't go as Allery fouled from behind. 2:35 minutes left in this one as Seattle leading late, 99-89 over Dallas. Dallas trails by 10 late in this one, but how about the emergence of Satou Sabally, where she has been tremendous inside and out.
Well, it was Enrique Agumbawale in the first half, and it's Satou Sabally in the second. 25 points, 7 boards. She has scored all over the floor, and she has scored with her offhand. She scored in transition. Brian Agler has an incredible weapon that he can move around the floor and put her in any position to score. She plays in the pick and roll. She can pick and pop. She can invert to the block. She's good with her handle. She can score with her offhand. She finishes around the rim. And she makes good decisions with the ball in her hands.
But not on the floor with 2:35 to play. But she and Sue Bird being helped off the floor when they collided earlier in the period. And after going 1 and 2 at the line, it's a 9-point lead for Seattle. After trailing 69-66, they got a lead foot. Put the pedal to the metal and help build this lead in the fourth. Canada was bumped, and free throws coming for the Seattle guard.
Played such good defense for, what was that, like 20 seconds on the shot clock?
One of Brian Agler's great comments about his young team was saying how he's really liked his team's composure down the stretch in some of these big games. But Seattle is a different beast, and although his team was neck and neck through 3 quarters, Seattle just had that extra burst. And that late run in the third too has really been the difference tonight.
Alicia Clark has really done a much better job, and Enrique has really slowed down her movement without the ball. As Marina Mabry drills another late game triple. She's hit a lot of big shots for them.
Not ready to say goodnight just yet. Lloyd curls and falling away, puts it in.
So this has been a really fun game to watch. It's been entertaining. We've seen all kinds of shot making. And then a mistake by Seattle allows Marina Mabry 5 quick points for Dallas.
Canada brings it into the front court as Gary Kloppenberg calls timeout. 21 points tonight from Jewel Lloyd on 8 of 12 shooting. And she's been efficient because she's getting looks like this one all night.
Just a great cut to the ball, good timing. As soon as Alicia Clark got a piece of the paint and cleared out, that's when Jewel knew to cut. Smart.
Taking a look at what lies ahead. Remember, the regular season wraps up Sunday, a game that was supposed to be played 2 weeks ago, postponed due to the stoppage of play in Bradenton. And what a way to end the season with a bang, as the #1 seed may be on the line if Seattle and Las Vegas can win out up until that Sunday afternoon matchup.
Well, I'm looking forward to a great finish for the regular season.
Taking a look, Asia Wilson, I know you've mentioned a couple of times that she has earned your MVP votes. And just a phenomenal job that Bill Laimbeer has done with the squad this season, despite not having Liz Cambage and Kelsey Plum. Las Vegas still 15-4 this year and have only lost to 2 teams.
Well, Asia Wilson was certainly my midseason vote. for MVP. And when you look at Brianna Stewart and Candace Parker, man, it is going to be splitting hairs between the three of them. But I think right now Asia has a little bit of measure of an advantage.
Out of the timeout, Samuelson got a hand on it and knocks it out of play. That's what's so amazing to think of with Brianna Stewart. Their shooting numbers haven't been great the last 4 games, and is 8 of 18 tonight, just a hair under 50%, but it is what she does in her game all around and how she can affect you so many different ways. Lloyd couldn't finish and immediately calling timeout with 1:12 to play. No quit in this group. That is the youngest in the league this year. Gumbawale has 15 points. All of them came in the second quarter. And as the Wings try to wrap up the final playoff spots in the WNBA, they face Chicago, who just lost its 4th straight game earlier tonight against Atlanta, and then close out the regular season against New York.
It's a great finish for Dallas to hang on to that 8th spot. And again, Seattle has held Enrique to 0 points here in the second, after Enrique had 39 in the last game and 15 in the first half, and she looked unguardable. She has not been able to catch the ball in a quality position. Seattle has pushed her catch out. Alicia Clark has done a really good job, and she's gotten a lot of help. Because in Enrique's mind in the first half, no one was going to be able to guard her off the bounce.
And after that miss is 4 of 15 tonight. Lloyd Powers in the lane. Will shoot the 19th and 20th free throw attempts for Seattle tonight.
And boy, did Jewel Lloyd turn the switch in the second half and shows what she's capable of doing. Calmly, very poised, waited her opportunity, and then when she was able to catch the ball where she could be effective, she was fantastic.
Gary Kloppenberg made the necessary adjustments as his stars picked up their play in the second half.
Which we knew he would. He is terrific on the defensive side of the ball. And we knew that he would do something to take away Enrique's downhill, and they did that. It's good team defense by Seattle.
And also holding the Wings to just 41 second half points, where they looked like they really turned it on at the end of that second quarter. And before we say goodnight, as we move into tomorrow's schedule, 3 more great games, 2 of them on CBS Sports Network. I can't wait till that matchup at the end of the night between a surging Washington club going against the Sparks that are still fighting for a top 2 seed.
Yeah, that's a dangerous game, right? You have a desperate, urgent Mystics team who's playing really well against LA, who still has some stuff to play for as well, for seeding and positioning inside the playoffs.
And the Lynx, no easy matchup after dropping back-to-back games. Going to play Las Vegas is a long inbound pass, swiped away by Clark. Howard is fouled by Gumbawale with 47.2 left.
When you throw that pass and it has that much air under it, it gives the defenders time. But that's part of the growing pains, I think, Sean, for Brian Agler and Dallas's ability to close out games. And I think when you have a young team and you're going against a veteran team that has a core that's been together, that won a championship together, even though they didn't win the championship last year, they won it 2 years ago, they still have a very talented, deep, experienced, competitive roster with a lot of mental toughness and a lot of competitive spirit out of Seattle.
Mabry can't hit another 3. Dallas calling off the troops as Seattle brings it up the floor. 107 points tonight. Only made 9 threes. Got to the line often and shot 51% from the floor. As the #1 rated offense and defense in the WNBA. Can't put the cherry on top with Stewie's 3. Gumbawale going to dribble out the clock. What an offensive showing from these two teams. But it was Seattle that was too much to handle. And a key run at the end of the third quarter by Jewel Lloyd and company helped Seattle.